Welcome back to Market It with Atma, where we share the tips, tools, and strategies to help your business be successful. Today, we have on the show Dr. T with Heritage Leadership Consulting. Welcome, Dr. T.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be able to share to your audience today, to be able to pour into them some great tips, some great tools to be able to help them grow. So I'm truly honored to be able to serve you and your audience today.
So am I. I'm so excited. You have such a unique company and inspirational journey. So can you share with us kind of what inspired you to found Heritage Consulting, Leadership Consulting, and what your plans are for the future?
Absolutely. So it all started way back when I was yay high to it. No. Okay. So the way that I came about Heritage Leadership Consulting with what it is that I do for the professional development and being a part of an MLM for 35 years. It was a long time.
Wow, yeah.
I got to truly understand the power of relationships and how teams work together in order to be able to grow and accomplish the necessary goals. So with that, I began to look at what made certain teams be exceptionally well and just kicking butt all day long with the goals and just exceeding above anything that anybody could ever ask for, and then compared that to the groups that were just mediocre. And from there, it's like, okay, what is it that makes them different? And I realized that it was the relationships that they had and the camaraderie that they had. So when I just firmly believe, simplifying it, that when you take care of your people will take care of you. If there is a true buy-in and they understand what the goal is and there's a relationship between them, then they will go above and beyond to be able to accomplish the goal. So it was that the foundation was built for me, and how I began to look at it and realize basically we teach best what we need most.
Absolutely.
And I saw that that was something that I needed for my team and that I wanted. So looking at that and growing from there is what I began to implement, and realizing that it's really the soft skills that leaders are missing.
That's actually what I wanted to ask you next. You mentioned soft skills when we spoke before. And can you tell us, why do you think these are often overlooked, and how can leaders start developing them more?
How much time do you have, and how much liquor do you have?
Umbrella view, right?
Okay, so I'll give you the Cliff Notes version of that. Again, that ties into what I saw in those teams. And a lot of times we get in positions, or we work in positions, where leaders typically just bark orders at you. They don't really take the time to know who you are. Not that you have to become their best bud and their happy hour person, and what have you. But if you take genuine concern about that person and what they're going through, have that empathy, that's a soft skill there, the communication with them, and just truly learning more about who they are, then again, as I said earlier, you can get more from them. That develops more loyalty, that decreases your attrition in your organizations. You don't have to retrain people, because after all, your human resource is your greatest resources and your bottom line to your organization or your team. So that's how it all came about. And so many times, and I put a little bit of a spin on it with using childhood stories.
Yes, that's perfect. And this is what drew me to you, because your childhood and everyone is who you are eventually. So can you tell me a little bit more about how you did that and strategized, and how you grew that implementation into corporate America?
So it's actually quite simple, because I believe in simplifying things. Everything does not take a rocket scientist to figure out or to work through. But from simplifying it, one of my favorite childhood stories was The Wiz.
Oh, yeah.
And understanding, just looking at it from an adult perspective and from a leadership perspective, versus when I just truly loved just the musical aspect of it as a child. And I looked at Dorothy, who's your visionary. She's your team leader. And then she has her team, which is the Scarecrow, the Tin Man, and and the lion, or cowardly lion, and they all have a common goal, which is to get to the whiz. And they have to look at the different pedigrees, the different backgrounds that they come from, appreciate them, use the strengths within those pedigrees and backgrounds so that they can work together and get to the common goal. So I figure, everybody knows The Wiz, The Wizard of Oz. Now that we have Wicked out, oh my God, oh my God.
So excited about that.
Yes. I was quick on the draw to go see that in the theater, and when I was able to see it live in person. As the play itself or the musical itself, but putting things in simplified forms, then people are able to retain them, and it's more palatable for them. Mm-hmm. And once it becomes more palatable for them and they retain it, then they can then go on the other side of the door, the training door, and execute them. Because so many times a lot of people do trainings just to check off the to-do list, and they don't really take those lessons that they learn unless they're very engaged in it and it's something that intrigues them.
Right.
But most of the times, once they leave out of that front door, or whatever door, that training door is what I'll call it for now, they don't do anything with that. So that's a waste of time as far as trying to train, trying to educate the team members or leaders or whomever, and you don't do anything with it. So what's the purpose of having training if you're not going to do anything with it?
Right.
The purpose is to execute.
Absolutely. So it's kind of like the 5 steps of the customer journey. You've learned how to implement this into what you do, and that's kind of what you just touched on, is introducing it to them in the training, and then the next 4 steps are very important. Can you walk us through those next 4 steps on how you walk through the process with your leaders, with their team members?
I'll simplify that. Again, I'm all about simplification.
Right.
And it's giving great value and great content, and making it so that someone, no matter whom they are, whether they're 99 years old, whether they have 10 PhDs, no D, no GED, no anything, to where they can understand it. And again, that's where I use why I use childhood stories to be able to implement those. So what it looks like is, in the content that I give, making it very, again, simplified, and you can take whatever stories out of that and then be able to relate to it. And once it's relatable, then you can go out and do something with it. Right. So to kind of give you another, dare I say, parable.
Right.
So let's just say a farmer is independent, and they can grow their crops, do whatever it is that they need to do in order to survive. But they're not able to do everything by themselves. They have to go get the seeds in order to grow the crop. So that's the interconnection, the interrelationships that we have with people. They have to get some type of, tealing, tealing the ground, whether it be a John Deere, manpower, or something, but you still have to go outside and get that. Yes. And then some type of irrigation system. Granted, the rain is wonderful, but it doesn't always operate when you need it to operate.
Absolutely.
So you have to enlist some type of irrigation system in order to get your crops to grow. So with that, even though we're independent and we can do things on our own, we still need each other in order to be successful.
Right, or to be as successful as you want to be. You can always be successful individually, right? So you kind of bring the full team together to empathize, kind of alleviate any microaggression that might be going on in the workplace. So you've actually been recognized in impressive ways. Can you tell me a little bit about how these accomplishments, what the accomplishments were, and reflect on your mission, and how they reflect on your mission and brand?
Quite simple. I'm very, here again, simplicity. I hate to be redundant and going back to that, but again, it doesn't have to be difficult in order for people to understand. I'm very clear on my purpose. And with clarity, you're able to communicate. You're able to demonstrate what it is that you do, what the passion, what the purpose, what the alignment is. Clarity breeds alignment. And from there, just staying true to the game, and true to myself. Other people noticed. Got noticed to be featured on New York Times Square.
Wow.
On the NASDAQ billboard. That was so exciting to see my little old face there on that billboard. It's like, oh my gosh, I made it. It's like, yes. I made it, Mom. I made it. So from there, also been featured and connected with Forbes Black. Also been a recipient, or I am a recipient of the Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award. Wow. So just staying in my niche and what it is that I'm doing, and other people are recognizing what I'm doing because of the value that I'm giving and adding to them.
Absolutely.
And as one of my coaches says, recognition gets recognized. So I just stay on the grind, stay in the purpose of what it is that I'm supposed to be doing, and it's going to touch on the right hearts and get into the right audience, and they will realize, oh, either I need them or I need to connect them with somebody that does need them.
Right. So you're a connector and just motivational in every way in corporate America. You're bringing a sense of personal to it without bringing their personal lives into it, right? Showing these leaders how to create empathy for their team and how the team can have empathy for each other. Am I following?
Absolutely. So, let me tilt and turn the corner just a bit.
Yeah.
People don't leave jobs because of money all of the time. They leave primarily because of the workplace culture, the workplace environment. So if you make the workplace environment somewhere where they want to stay, again, going back to that loyalty that they have with you, then your human resource, that turnover, that attrition is not one of the biggest expense items on your line item. So take care of your people, and your people will take care of you.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I mean, I've been in many places where I've made lots and lots of money, but I was so unhappy and brought it home every day that it wasn't worth it to me.
Or if you think about it this way, too, flipping that coin just a bit. So you've got this leader, we're just going to call him leader for right now, that they have the technical skills, and they're either constantly, again, barking orders at you, or you wonder how, in Jesus' name, are they still in this position? How do they still have the job? Because they don't know how to talk to people. And, they become more of an energy drainer versus an energy giver. So when they come around the corner and you see them, it's like, oh, God, here they come again. Or you want to do the run, Forrest, run thing and just run in the opposite direction. Or is it somebody that, oh, such and such is here. They're, let me go and be a part of them. Let me greet them. Let me welcome them. Now my whole energy, my whole, as they say now, vibe has been shifted because of how that person is personal, how they use their soft skills, and it makes you want to be a part of them in their space and have some of their energy.
Absolutely, because every day they don't want to bark orders, right? They actually want to provide some educational information to their team, and this gives, the way you've explained it and the way you're teaching these businesses, gives the team an opportunity to actually learn and grow more than they would have.
Absolutely.
Had they not had these skills.
Absolutely. And I don't take away from technical skills, because you do need them.
Absolutely.
But there's a balance where you've got to incorporate the soft skills with the technical skills. And like I said, you want to have that leader where if they ask you to do something, you want to do it without hesitation. So I'll use another example. So let's say you have someone, let's just use you and I.
Absolutely.
So if we have a great relationship, if I come to you and ask you for a favor, even if you have a zillion different things on your plate, because of the relationship that we have, you'll figure out a way to honor or to fulfill that favor that I've asked of you.
Absolutely.
Whereas if we don't have a relationship and I ask you to do something, you'll do it because of your character, but not necessarily try and figure out how to make it work. And you're going to do just enough to say you completed the task, which transfers over into the workplace. A lot of times people do just enough to keep from getting fired.
Right.
And it's because of that workplace culture, that relationship that they have amongst the team or amongst the team leaders or the managers or whomever it is. It's all a culture. It's all a part of the culture.
Absolutely. So when your actual team has a more personal and intimate culture that you've created as a leader, then inevitably each team member takes it as a personal goal to complete that task versus a check mark on the to-do list.
Absolutely.
Right?
And with having that relationship, so let's say, you're on my team and I see that you're having issues with whatever it may be, or I know your mom is in the hospital and that's taking a toll on you, and you've got 3 kids at home, you're married, and you're trying to juggle all of this. If I am truly connected with you, then I am going to say, hey, how can I help you? What can I do for you? Or even if I'm not able to do anything for you, who knows? It can be a gift card from Starbucks just for you to start the day and let you know somebody is thinking about you, and that can just simply be the aha or the nice or the adrenaline shot that somebody needs to be able to get for it. It's just a personal relationship, and it can be shown in different ways. There's the five languages of love that transfers over into professional development as well.
Absolutely.
You can look up those 5 love languages and
see, podcast.
Yes, that is, and see how, as a leader, how can you tap into those languages. But the only way you can tap into those languages is to build a relationship with someone and know what makes them tick and what gives them that power to be able to move forward.
Absolutely. And you touched on a little bit of the technical skills you have to have. Social media plays a big part in how you reach your audience, right? Yes. Can you tell us what strategies have worked best for you on engaging your audience on different social media platforms and what platforms you're on?
So, I pretty much have almost everything. I've got Facebook, I've got LinkedIn, I've got Instagram, I think I may even have a Snapchat, and that is just not where I am and who I am. And I even have a TikTok account as well. So I can be found on those. But if you really, really, really want to engage and deep dive into what it is that I offer as far as content and value, then your best places to find me is going to be on LinkedIn or either Facebook. One of those two is where I'm most active in that place.
Okay, wonderful. And can you give us maybe an example of one of the businesses that you've helped and you've seen a lot of growth from by incorporating your strategies into their workplace environment?
So, when I worked for American Express a while ago as a corporate travel agent, and I did that for well over 20 plus years, they pulled me to help do some training as far as the actual job duties per se.
Right.
And once they pulled me, because I was pretty productive and able to just kick butt, just call it like it is. And in being in that place, it was like, okay, we need you to go train these people so that they can be as efficient as you are. And in that process of training them, I got to know them a little bit better as far as their personal lives, depending on who it was, if it was a safe space where you went to church or, where you live, not necessarily neighborhood per se, because I'm not trying to, again, do a drive-by or anything like that. But taking that time to have a personal relationship with them and building that trust with them. So that's probably one of the biggest places where I've been able to use my influence. Again, in the MLM business that I was a part of, I was able to do that, again, 35 years. So, there had to be some type of impact and influence in that arena as well. So just pretty much wherever I go, even when I worked at Continental Airlines for a moment in their accounts payable department, that was another place that coupled where I saw the difference in the building of the relationships. Because as I was asking to receive receipts for being able to reconcile the business cards or the corporate cards, I would notice that usually I would get my request for those receipts in a pretty timely manner. Again, because I built a relationship with them, even if it was, hey, how are the kids? How was that trip to Disneyland or whatever? And when they saw my name come across either the caller ID or in the email, one, they knew what department I was in and why I was reaching out to them, that I typically got what I asked for in a timely manner versus my team other team members, not my team, but other team members. They had a little bit of a time trying to get that. It was several requests that they had to make in order to get the information. And again, looking at that and comparing that to, as I said earlier, the other teams that were doing well versus those that were just mediocre, it was the relationship that I was building.
Yep. I think in any business relationship, you have to have that foundation. You can't look at an email, like you said, and dread the person that's coming from. And that's where you really learned how to create this process, right? So what's next for Heritage Leadership Consulting? What do you have on the horizon?
Oh, gosh. We're all over the place. We're all over the place, but in the right places. So I have a intensive that I do, and it is truly a boot camp, deep dive. We're getting in the nitty-gritty, pulling up our sleeves, looking at your leadership style, and how is it that we can improve that so that you can have a more productive team, so that you can have more again, productivity, the efficiency of the team, and that value that they feel, your team members feel valued. So we deep dive into that. And right now it's just 4 hours, but the conversation continues to go. So I think I may extend it to 6, but right now it's just on one day to dive in there. And if they're looking to be able to see what it is that the Oz Experience intensive is all about, they can find it on my website, which is dr-tajiri, tajiri.com.
Wonderful. And other than your website, they can also reach you on LinkedIn, your Facebook page, any of your social media outlets. And what is the best email address that they can shoot you a little message on to see if you can come and meet with them?
That would be at info@heritageleadership.com. But all they have to do is just simply go to my website, Dr-Tajiri, and then there's a drop down at the bottom of the page to schedule a call. I call it the Emerald Conversation, again, because of the Oz Experience. And we can have a 30-minute conversation and figure out what it is that you need and how, or what they need, and how I can serve them better.
Man, it's so inspiring the way you learned how to do this and the way you're really giving back to your community by offering this. I think every business needs it at the end of the day.
Absolutely. Every business needs it.
No matter what industry, right?
Exactly. Because, again, you have people that are working.
Yes. And you want to keep them as long as you can, right?
Want to keep them as long as you can, and want to make sure that they are happy where they are.
Absolutely, because loyalty it equals out to happiness and loyalty.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Oh, most welcome.
I really appreciate it. Your journey is inspirational.
Thank you. Thank you.
And to all our listeners out there, come back and see us on the next Market It with Atma. I'm your host, Story, and we'll see you next time.